Primary function of the computer system unit is to hold all the other components together and protect the sensitive electronic parts from the outside elements. If you are done opening the computer case, unplug all the wires connecting the power supply, motherboard, and other components inside the system unit. First, unplug the Molex connector that connects the power supply to the HDD or hard disk drive and the IDE connector that connects the HDD to the motherboard. .2024 pin main power. These connectors are polarized so that they usually cannot be inserted incorrectly and lock into position using a latch. When you're unplugging this connector, press the lock and pull the connector until it's separate from the motherboard. Unplug the connectors that connects the motherboard into the peripheral devices. Unplug the 4-pin main power that gives additional power to the motherboard. After you unplug all the wires, unscrew the power supply which is located in the back of the computer case and often has its own fan for cooling. In removing the memory card or random access memory, press the two lock from both ends of this slot simultaneously and lift the card. In removing the LAN cards, unscrew first the screw located outside the case and when you're done, grab both ends of the LAN card and lift it up. The hard disk drive provides the mass storage for the computer system and is connected to the motherboard using set of wires. Commonly, HDDs are locked using two pieces of screws. Unscrew the HDD to remove it from the case. Before removing the CPU fan, remove first the connector that connects the fan to the motherboard. Upon removing the processor fan, rotate the 4 locks clockwise to unlock the fan and the heatsink. Be careful in unlocking the locks and removing the fan because forcing it to be removed might destroy the locks. To get the CPU, push the lever to unlock the cage enclosing it and take the processor. CPU or microprocessor is a processor whose elements are miniaturized into a fewer integrated circuits contain the single silicon microchip. Motherboard is the largest and most fundamental component of a PC. All other hardware components are attached to the motherboard because it is important for other components to work and communicate together. CPU fan and heatsink is a large fan often placed on top of the CPU to avoid overheating. HDD is a non-volatile and non-portable external data storage device. It is also a data storage device used for storing and retrieving digital information using rapidly rotating disk. A network interface card or NIC, also called a network card, network adapter or LAN adapter, is a piece of computer hardware designed to allow computers to communicate over a computer network. Memory card or RAM, also known as the internal memory of the system, consists of electronic component that store instruction waiting to be executed by the processor. IDE cable. In 2024 pin configurations, the Minifit Junior connector may be used on ATX motherboards as the main power connector. Power supply is a device that supplies electrical power into an electrical node. Power supply connectors. 4-pin peripheral power cable. It was used for floppy drives and hard disks. It is still around and is now also used for all kinds of things including add-on fans, extra video card power, supplementary motherboard power, and case lighting.
The first step for assembling the computer system parts is mounting the processor on the processor socket of the motherboard. Once the processor is mounted, the heatsink will be attached on top of the processor. The CPU fan is also attached on top of the heatsink. Next, install the hard disk drive below CD or DVD drive and screw it. It is time now for aligning RAM to its socket on the motherboard or press it downward. Make sure the side tab are fixed into the RAM notch. If not, you may still have to press a bit. Next, the LAN card. Place on the LAN card socket and make sure to screw it. Now, line up the power supply at the top back end of the cabinet and screw it. Next, select the appropriate data cable and connect one end of the cable to its drive socket and another end at its appropriate connector. For SATA hard disk drive or CD or DVD drives, use SATA cable and its power cable. Else, use IDE data cable. Do the proper jumper settings as the proper usage requirement. And connect the external devices with CPU socket. Plug in the power cable to the electric board. Make sure that all the cables are properly connected before turning on the system unit.